Welcome to the West Liberty, Ohio Walking History Tour. John Enoch came to the Miami Valley from Uniontown, Pennsylvania in 1815. He built a home in Gristmill that ran on the Mackachee Creek. In 1817, he founded West Liberty and moved to the south edge of town, where he built a home, gristmill, and sawmill run on the Mad River, and a distillery was 30 yards from the mill. People came from all over to do business at the mill, including the Wyandotte, Seneca, and Shawnee Indians. In the 1800s, Jacob Anstein provided electricity with a dynamo that was connected to the water wheel. You could not use more than 5 light bulbs at one time. In 1962, the mill, then owned by Lauren King, was struck by lightning and burned down. On Tuesday, March 25, 1913, the Miami Valley received 8 inches of rain in 48 hours due to the collision of 3 storm fronts. This caused the Mad River to overflow its banks. In West Liberty, the railroad bridge was weakened by the floodwaters and collapsed under the weight of the Penn locomotive and Pullman sleeper and fell into the raging waters at 1 a.m. The train's passengers were safe with only 7 injuries. The engineer and fireman were slightly injured and found that day. The conductor was rescued by William Lieb and Oliver King and treated for 12 hours water exposure. The only casualty was the brakeman, and his body was found 24 hours later near Pimtown Road. William Lieb and Oliver King received the Carnegie Hero Fund Bronze Medal and $1,000. The first attempt to remove the cars from the water failed when something broke. It took 4.5 months to remove them from the Mad River. The West Liberty Christmas star has been shining for many, many Christmas seasons. In the 1950s, John Plank said Pat Smith came up with the idea to make the star. Sidney Grain helped with the construction of the star, which is 8 foot by 10 foot. The bulbs are from a traffic light, and the points had a higher wattage, and it would flash back and forth. When first put up, it would swivel back and forth using a washing machine agitator. They used a pulley system to raise it to the top of the elevator. Originally, the West Liberty Police Department was in Town Hall, but moved to the house across the alley from the fire department in 2012. After several years, they moved to the community room behind the library. Then they looked for a more adequate building and rehabbed this one on Runkle Street in 2018. After the 1880 fire, businesses were rebuilt and the owners put their name on the buildings. They were called blocks. They could house several businesses, and my guess is the people lived in the upstairs. On the intersection of Detroit and Columbus Street, at the end of the 2 tall buildings, there are S's. They look to me to be horseshoes that are shaped in an S. I've always been curious as to what they mean and why they are there. What do you think? Here we have Memorial Park, which is on land donated by Van Bailey, who is a prominent businessman in West Liberty. Originally, the rock in the front sat on top of the rock in the back until a car came up over the curb and hit them, knocking the one on top off. So they ended up sitting the one on top in the front of the V where the little park sits. The 2 history markers are about the Shawnee Indians who made West Liberty home. We have Mackachee Town, which was east of West Liberty. Pigeon Town was northwest, and Wapatomika was below Zanesfield. We have the World War I Memorial, which remembers the men from the West Liberty community who served our nation in its conflicts from 1776 to 1918. Here next to Town Hall, we have 2 history markers. One is for Hall's Army, which is a trail over which General Hall's Army marched to Detroit in 1812, which is where we get Detroit Street at for our main street. On the back side is Chief Malantha, who was chief of the Indian town Mackachee. This plaque is for the chief of police from 1958 to 1962, Sherman M. Ricketts, who was killed in the line of duty on June 29, 1962. The founder of West Liberty, John Enoch, donated the lot that the town hall sits on. Originally, it was used as a feed lot, and later for overnight camping for traders and animals. The town hall was built in 1868 for $7,000 by the Village of West Liberty and Township trustees. The bell, which was 85 years old when it was installed in the 1880s, was used as the town fire alarm. History-making events like the Artemis of 1918, deaths of presidents, and New Year's Eve. The Opera House is on the second floor of Town Hall, and it was built as an auditorium with a stage. Later on, an incline floor was added, and there was a ticket booth in the back on the second floor. There are two dressing rooms on the second floor of the firehouse in the back. 4 coal-fired stoves and chimneys was what provided heat, and they had painted frescoes on the walls and ceilings. It was lit by large chandelier and probably oil lamps. A piano was purchased in 1895 on a payment plan of $8 per month. Burton's Ideal Comedies was the last traveling show to perform in 1947 and 48. It is currently undergoing restoration, and we can't wait until it's finished. The flag of stone was made by Roberto Torres of Florida after 9/11. It weighs 200 pounds and when on display stand is 6 feet tall. It is permanently displayed in the West Liberty Town Hall chamber room and can be seen through the window from the outside. The World War II Memorial is also in the Town Hall, and it has the name of all those from West Liberty who served in World War II. This frame building was added to the back of the Town Hall for the new fire department after the bad fire of 1880. The bottom floor houses village and equipment, and upper level is storage and hose drying tower. The military troop banners are displayed from Memorial Day through Veterans Day. The project started in 2017 by the Bicentennial Celebration Committee. The Bailey House was the former home of businessman George Bailey. A direct descendant, great-great-grandson Herb McLean, donated funds so the West Liberty Historical Society can save the house from being torn down. It will be restored, and a committee has been formed to help turn it into the Bailey House Historical Center. On Thursday, May 13, 1880, at 3 p.m., a fire started in the stable of Mrs. Lyman Cook. Flames spread quickly to another stable, ice house, then across the alley on both sides, then jumped across Detroit Street to both sides of the alley and around the corner on West Baird Street. Fire departments were summoned from Urbana and Bellefontaine and arrived by rail 50 minutes later. It took 3 hours to get the fire out. Everyone was going into homes and businesses and putting stuff in the middle of the street to save from the fire. The mayor had to deputize men to arrest the looters who were stealing the stuff that was saved by the fire. 31 businesses and 8 homes were lost, but no lives were. The true cause of the fire remains unknown, but some suggestions were that Mrs. Cook's son was playing in the stable and accidentally started the fire, or a tramp started it on purpose. This has been Tammy, your docent with Tammy's Tours. Thank you for joining me on the West Liberty Walking History Tour. It's been fun. I hope you learned a lot about West Liberty, and if you get the chance, stop on by and visit us. We have many wonderful things to offer. Special thanks out to Stacy Patterson and Bob McClure for the pictures and all your help. Thanks.